You ever notice how dismissive avoidance will commit fast to somebody who's toxic, but then pull away and panic and run from someone who's loving and secure? There's a reason for this. Toxic partners feel emotionally safe to a dismissive avoidant. No, not because they actually like the toxicity, but because there is no threat of emotional intimacy. Toxic partners don't demand vulnerability. Toxic partners have their walls up. They're self-focused. They're unpredictable. And toxic partners keep distance naturally. So there's no threat of vulnerability. They don't have to open up and really show their true inner vulnerable selves to the toxic partner. It feels safe. But when they have a person that is consistent, loving, emotionally available, well, they feel seen, they feel exposed, they feel vulnerable. All their core fears are being triggered by a partner that actually is loving. Those fears, those attachment wounds are not triggered by a toxic partner, especially a narcissistic partner. That type of partner doesn't trigger their wounds. Emotional intimacy is the fear, not the commitment label itself. That's why so many dismissive avoidants will struggle to commit to a partner that actually cares about them, but quickly commit to somebody who doesn't care about them. And that's because the toxic partner doesn't care about them, and that feels safe. But when somebody actually consistently loves them, their fears of rejection, their fears of losing their independence all kick in. This is a person that was emotionally neglected in childhood. Often they don't even know it. Their basic needs were met: food, clothing, shelter, but their emotional needs were not met at all. Growing up in households where you don't talk about feelings. So they learned to stuff their feelings, but they also developed this deep wound of shame. Shame is a toxic emotion that says, I'm defective, I'm unlovable, there's something wrong with me. And this is why they fear vulnerability. Their fear, especially at the subconscious level, is if I lower my walls and I let my partner in, they're going to figure out I'm defective. They're going to reject me. And they're going to take my independence, they're going to control me and figure out I'm not good enough, and they're going to reject me. So, emotional intimacy, which naturally builds with a loving partner, is terrifying to them. That means, ooh, they're going to figure out they're too good for me and they're going to reject me. I better run away and protect myself from that rejection. But the toxic, often narcissistic partner, well, there's no fear of that. They don't have to lower the walls. It feels safe. It may be toxic, but it doesn't trigger their attachment wounds. So that's why they often have long-term committed relationships, even marriages, to toxic partners, but struggle to commit to emotionally available partners. Now, there are exceptions when they do commit longer term and marry a healthier partner, usually when there's family, societal, cultural, or religious pressures on them where they feel obligated to get married. Now, they can commit to that emotionally available partner, but when they do, they tend to withdraw with every advance in commitment, because each advance in commitment means more vulnerability, more reliance on the other person, more fears of losing independence, getting controlled and rejected. And they have this deep fear of needing somebody that stems from that shame. Now, when you commit to somebody, especially at a deeper level like marriage, it's an unspoken expectation that you have to be willing to be vulnerable with the person that you're committed to. You can't have walls up with your spouse. Well, since emotional intimacy and vulnerability equals rejection and abandonment, therefore, commitment at an advanced stage does too. So that's why commitment terrifies them with a loving partner, because there's threat of intimacy. But they can marry a partner that they don't have to lower their walls to. So a toxic, narcissistic partner feels safe to marry. The healthier partner feels unsafe. So what do they do to protect themselves when they do marry a healthier partner? They withdraw from the relationship emotionally and often physically. You get a roommate, not a spouse, often sleeping in separate bedrooms. Physical intimacy often becomes non-existent or very robotic at best. And they just don't show up for you emotionally, because keeping that distance prevents that rejection and losing their independence. So, when you buy a house, for example, they withdraw. When you marry, they withdraw even further. When you have children, they really withdraw, because now that's real deep commitment. Having children together, each advance is withdrawal. So commitment doesn't terrify them in and of itself. It's the emotional intimacy that terrifies them, which is why they can commit, especially when there's no intimacy.